All right, welcome to the third episode of the Ignite the Underdog podcast. My name is Haley.
I'm TJ.
And we have a guest with us. Our first guest. Who's with us?
Yeah, I am Andrew Perlowich. Everyone calls me AP. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So I think what I'd really like to open up with, I always like to do a warm-up. And we're going to do Marry, Freak, Kill. Marry, fuck, kill.
All right,
marry, fuck, kill.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor Swift. Kelsey Ballerini.
Yeah.
Dasha.
Oh, my God.
I'll say Maren Morris instead of Dasha, but...
Oh, let's add a fourth option. Maren Morris.
I mean, I hate to go with the same concept twice. Wait, for the fourth option? Or third? Are we replacing the third?
Nope, you just have four options.
You can marry two if you want.
Marry two?
Yeah, you can marry two.
I mean, same principle.
Or kill two.
I'm marrying Taylor. Because great alimony.
So you marry for the money?
In this situation.
Okay.
It's not for love. Realistically, I am probably Team Morgan, but she's nice looking, so W.
Big W.
Yeah, and whatever
music was great, though.
Whatever happens to the other two is whatever happens. But honestly, though, with Dasha, I think that it's TBD. She's new.
Yeah, she's so new. You don't know.
She's new.
Yet.
Let's see what happens.
Well,
I know I don't like the other one, so it's
yeah,
but
kill. That's a kill.
yeah,
Well, let's talk about that. So,
Yeah.
because me and TJ got in a huge debate, and he actually defended Dasha, and he really tested my limits of can I refrain from saying certain things. But at the same time, it's like she was put in an almost impossible situation. She just went viral. Then she was asked to be put in front of a crowd of her peers, so not just fans. Like there's a lot of peers there. I'd be anxious. Personally, I would be shitting myself. And she's doing a dance on a stage that's huge, that she's never really been on. I mean...
Outside of that, I think she was put in an impossible position in general. She had no history in the industry, no media training, she didn't cut her teeth at all. And, we have a lot of friends in the same circles, and I think she's a really good girl from what I hear. But you can't take anyone and put that limelight on them.
So, that was kind of my point of view.
Yeah.
Like, I understand that she obviously wasn't ready for the moment, but at the same time, how do you say no to that opportunity?
Yeah, and veteran
veteran
artists bust some of those appearances.
Yeah.
So it's like she was in an impossible situation in that regard. But
Zach Brown that same night was rough. I don't know if you guys saw
But that is probably the worst part of the social contagion of TikTok. Is like you're creating celebrities. You're not developing them.
Absolutely.
And you're making them overnight,
Yeah, well, it's like we're redoing pod 2, but from a different perspective, your perspective. But that's what we talked through. It's like, well, labels they're not really in the game for development anymore. That just doesn't.
No.
They're waiting on someone to pop off. And then, oh, well, you have a big group of people that already wants to hear what you have to say. Even if it's shit.
Yeah. It's harder to get on a moving train.
Yeah, we brought up the Craig Campbell video that I thought was hysterical of him talking about like he's like a label's calling him to talk to him. It's like, oh, I've got this artist. Can they sing? Is there any music out? Send me some stuff. Oh, well, no, they're in.
Yeah.
Never played a show before.
Yeah.
Never done any.
But it's harder to jump on a moving train, but it's a lot harder to stop one. So it's like the labels are just looking for those moving trains at this point. But I also get, to play the contrarian, like people like Craig Campbell, these other artists, like they're mad about the TikTok artists that are developing. But the guys before them were mad about how they developed. Like, they had iTunes. They had CDs. They had the next generation's always going to complain that the next one had it easier, right? It's it's just the world we live in.
Well, and also like if those artists were to go viral tomorrow, the ones that are bitching about how those were discovered, it's like
Well, totally. I mean, look at Walker Hayes. Like the dude gave it everything for 22 years. Yeah. Finally caught a break, and it's like why would anyone be mad at that? He tried every other way.
Yeah,
caught a break. Like good for him. It's like. You can complain about it or you can get on the train.
Well, one of the artists that we both worked with, I mean, it's how he's able to literally pursue music full time and sustain the career that he has now.
Totally. And it's already, the bell curve's already come back down. So it's like, what's next? You know, not to say TikTok's exhausted by any means. I think it's still a great discovery tool, but it's like now artists should be looking at like, what's the next tactic? Because it's not dances anymore.
Please no.
You know, it's what's next.
Yeah, it's always a new level of evolution. And now especially with...
Spank her ass. Tell her no. That was a good spank. Nice, Kate. Nice.
What do you guys
Caden's also a part-time spanker.
Wait, what? You get a fact check?
For the right price, I'll be a full-time spanker.
Oh my God.
Did you take yourself off mute for that? Please tell me yes.
Yes, I did.
Cool.
That's awesome.
No,
all right.
also with TikTok probably getting banned too.
Yeah,
Seems
well,
like it's going that way.
it's not going to
won't be a
get
couple
banned.
years.
It's not going to get banned. No.
I think it will.
So what's going to happen is a U.S. company has to buy them,
Yeah.
and they have 9 months to make that happen, based on everything I've seen in the
How much
media.
money
9
do you
months.
think it'd be? We could probably do it.
If Caden becomes a full-time spanker, and I
There you
put my
go.
feet on OnlyFans, and you put your butthole, I think we could make it.
No
I
one
think
wants
we
to
could.
see that.
Dude, forget about the music business industry. If we go down that road, it's a lot more lucrative
We
that
have
way.
we have a lot of equipment.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I think they'll end up getting acquired by somebody.
Yeah,
By Disney.
for sure. That or someone. I mean, what's to stop them for them to just have like a U.S.
Yeah.
headquarters here? I mean, literally, it's not even that hard. They just don't want to, because then it becomes a U.S. company, which means you have to comply with a lot of the privacy laws, regulations, taxes, and they would rather just make a shit ton of money off of U.S. citizens and take all
Yeah.
their data and sell it. That's where they make money.
Yeah.
It's not even. It's scarier from that perspective than it is even for artists. No matter the case, yeah, I don't think it's going to get banned. We're going to revisit the TikTok conversation in a second, but first, I'd like for you to properly introduce yourself. Give me some background.
Some background. So I am a Florida man, traditional. Not what you read about, but I am a Florida man. I've
Darn it, I was gonna ask you about alligators.
I've had a lot of experience with alligators.
They didn't
But
believe in COVID too, I think.
They did, nor did I. But it
Still don't.
still don't. I did get it 3 times, but I'm 3-0, COVID champion.
Only thing I believe in is
Champion.
myself.
But it's I came up as a producer in Florida from like 2010 to 2014, 15.
Wait. So what got you started into the music? Like, when did you know, yep, music's what I want to pursue. I'm going to go down this path.
Yeah, so I was an artist when pop punk music was fun and cool the first time.
The first time.
Not again. And had a fun touring life. I was a lot thinner then, so that helped the game. And as that industry kind of started to take a dive downward and being replaced by a lot, the top 40s, the countries, I started producing pretty heavily and tried to ride the tail end of that from a producer standpoint, and then use it as a segue to move into other genres. So I started really producing a lot of hip hop. And I worked in hip hop
Really?
primarily for several years. Yeah.
I don't think I knew that.
And worked on a lot of really big hip hop records, a lot of great hip hop producers, artists, labels, and like cut my teeth in hip hop, some electronic, and spent several years doing that, which ultimately led me somehow into doing a country record that kind of jump started my management career in a sense.
What was the country?
A guy named Blair Hanks.
Oh,
Yeah, he was he's my best friend to this day, and great artist, and we still make a lot of great music together on the production front, and then with his career as well. But he was doing a record, and he was working with a guy at a time that I don't know if he was looking to get out of the game or what, but there was just some moments of mismanagement that I felt like I could take advantage of to help put him in a better position to win. I didn't know what I was doing, but I just had a passion for him, and I wanted to learn, and I'd really gotten burned out of producing and wanted to take a different role and a different light in music. So I made as slow but effective as a transition as possible, and started managing him from there while we were producing the records, coming up to Nashville, I don't know, 2 weeks out of every quarter. Started to cut my teeth here, start building relationships, getting to know the agents, getting to know the publishers. And once we felt like we were in a position where I could make the move full time, I made the jump about 7 years ago and really never looked back, you know?
Yeah.
I've worn a lot of hats since then. But management's definitely been the role.
Yeah. I don't know. I think for you to be really good at your job as a manager, though, you have to be so passionate where you could not know what the hell you're doing, but you're willing to run through that brick wall anyways.
Totally. I couldn't agree more. And I think, too, you definitely have to have a lot of ego death. You know? You got a lot of ego death because it'll dish it to you whether you want it or not.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I was I honestly, like, I was really lucky because I got to learn a lot really fast. He was in a situation where he was doing a lot of PR because of a relationship that he was in at the time that kind of cast him into the limelight really aggressively and really quickly. So for me to be able to learn in that fire made me so much better of a manager and just a coordinator, you know, learning because you're not just managing artists, you're managing human beings. And when it's not just their career, when you're managing emotions and when you're managing, you know, other people's outlooks on them, it was nice to learn in the fire.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's an interesting side of management that a lot of people don't. If you're wanting to get into management, right, you don't think about that part. You don't even think it's a bullet point underneath like the requirements, but you're managing a human. I mean,
yeah, you're not just manager, you're also therapist and
everything
that falls into that category.
Yeah, it's important to remember it's like you battle with your own emotions. So you're battling with another person's emotions.
Yeah.
You know, so it really is taking on a different life.
Yeah.
It's
it's always about what do they think, what's in their head, what's going through their mind.
Absolutely. Which is, you know, can be a lot at once.
Yeah. Well, both of you have gotten calls from me before when I'm having mental breakdowns. So
yeah, I'm the local
either I'm
therapist
angry or I'm sad or I'm like just I got to get this fucking done.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, the amount of fuck, I need helps.
Yeah.
Or make this fucking make sense. I want to get that on a shirt. Make this fucking make sense.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
my
it's good
go-to
though. It's
phrase.
good to have those people in your life though.
Oh yeah.
I've certainly got them.
I mean, I've been really grateful for you. Just our relationship in the past like 6 months. Just your help has been tremendous.
Yeah, I love being there. I'm definitely like my crew's therapist.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you're easy to talk to.
Yeah.
Very go with the flow. Very calm.
I'd like to think
I'm
so.
not calm.
No kid. Yeah.
I'm like my dog.
Yeah. That's true.
Where is my dog?
Right at the bar. Smoking a cigarette.
Midtown.
Eating some
Midtown.
edibles. So with management, I guess what really attracted you to it though, outside of Blair?
I mean, it's the focal point of all things of a career. Because you are at the center of every decision that's being made. And you get to take a dual-sided position because at the end of the day, it's the artist's career. So you can either be in front of them, trailblazing an idea, or you can be behind them, pushing them through it. You know, and I loved the like visual of like going to an artist, you know, because when you're a producer, someone comes to you with a record and they say like, hey, here's the story that I want to tell. From management, you get to do that, but you also say, hey, here's what the tour what I want to tell. And with my merchandising, here's the story that I want to tell. And I love stories. I think it's the most important part of being an artist is how you tell your story. And management kind of puts you at the center of that to help put the puzzle pieces together. And I am self-admittedly, I get bored very easily, and I couldn't be in a position where I would get bored, you know? And going into something, obviously, like I love publishers, but like I could never be a publisher because of the monotony of, I love songs and I love A&R and I love that world of things. But like, I want to go out on the road and I want to help build a live show and I want to help, you know, create a VIP experience. And it just allows you to be able to do.
Well, and help build something.
Yeah. You know, and I think it's so, I don't like the term easy, but like, it's so easy to be good at management. It's not easy to have the success, but it's good. It's easy to be good at it. You just have to care. And you just have to be very.
Yeah, you would think.
Yeah, you just have to
you
carry.
would think.
Yeah,
You
I
would
mean,
think it'd be easy.
It doesn't mean that they're gonna be successful, but
Yeah.
you can be a good manager and never have a W.
Yeah, yeah.
You can,
Yeah,
like
because
you know,
there's a lot of dominoes.
there's a lot of variables, and there's a lot of, it's a ton of luck. But like you can still be a great manager.
Yeah.
You know that's what your successes are not necessarily a reflection of your effort or your talent on
Right.
this side of things, and even as an artist.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have something to say?
I got a question for all of you guys. What do you think is the difference from what you guys have seen? A good manager and a successful one.
Luck.
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 That's all it is. Yeah.
Fucking luck.
100%.
Yeah.
Maybe Coke. I don't know. Luck.
Yeah, and
Yeah, luck and a little bit of
sometimes
Coke.
It's not even like, I mean, look at the game. Like, there's a lot of managers that probably aren't particularly good at their craft that are
that
really
are still
lucky.
successful.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they were handed they were given a good hand, and they played it well.
Yeah.
And it's never just the manager too. I mean, you can have a great manager, but if the artist isn't putting in
The artist has
work
gotta be
that
putting in
he
the
should
work.
It has to be the artist, but at the end of the day, it's like being a manager is the same as being a CEO or being the same as a manager anywhere else. Like at the end of the day, the buck stops with you.
Yeah.
You know, if the tour goes wrong, it's your fault.
Mhm.
If the song doesn't get the right, if the licensing doesn't get cleared, it's on you. Like every part of it's on you at the end of the day. But some people do kind of just fall backwards into like, that worked, and I've had so many lucky breaks, and even in my world where it's like, you can look back and be like, I did that. It's like, I really didn't. It's like I knew it's important to know what to do with it after it happens.
Right.
Because like so many artists, you don't plan for the success that they have.
especially nowadays.
Yeah, because it can be so fast. So it's like, I have an artist, and I know we'll circle back to it, but like I work with an artist that I manage who had a really, really great break before I started managing him. Immediately started getting calls from labels and publishers and agents, and everyone wanted a piece of the pie and wanted to get on that moving train. But he didn't have management. He didn't have representation. He didn't have a lawyer. So he didn't know what to do. And when that drop off starts, as it always is going to, if you don't have a team around you that's taking advantage of those opportunities, you have to start over. It's a completely fresh slate.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of look at it a little bit different. I mean, I've spent my whole career, right, in business to business kind of nature of things, and in consulting, and I kind of see it as this: the artist is the CEO, the manager is the COO, kind of like your right hand.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, really, I feel like you should be your right hand, right? And both of you should be working at 250%, not one or the other. Because I feel like the artist needs to own it too and take, especially at the earlier stages. At the
I
earlier
think from
stages.
a literal standpoint, you're right. But what I'm saying is from a accountability standpoint.
Oh, yeah. No, at the end of the day, it's still going to be my fault.
It's
going to be
back
my
on you.
fault. It's going to be your fault.
Yeah. But you have to operate that way.
Correct. Because it's still the artist. It's their business. It's
Totally.
their story. They are the product that's being sold if you're putting yourself in
Totally.
the CEO, that kind of language or definition. But I feel like all hands need to be on deck. And I feel like there's also a lot of artists out there that you get a manager and you expect them to just make miracles happen. And that just it's not how life works.
Yeah. I mean, it is their career. And you got to be there to open doors
Right.
when they're ready. Yeah.
What would you
That's a key point when they're ready.
When they're ready,
There's a
yeah.
lot of artists that are like, okay, we meet with them, and they're like, well, yeah, I really just need someone help with booking. Like, and they give you a list of venues. It's like, slow down.
slow down. I don't even think you could sell at a coffee shop.
Yeah.
Slow the fuck down.
Well, that's the persona that monthly listeners give you,
Right.
That's the tough part is like, I have 500,000 monthly listeners. Like, well,
Doesn't correlate to ticket sales.
there's 9 billion people, and it's a big world, So
Well, that whole
doesn't-
situation makes, me and you have talked about it. It makes me anxious. Like,
Sure.
with that specific artist, it makes me extremely anxious. Because the second that he gets out there and let's say a crowd isn't there,
Yeah.
what it would do to him mentally would send him off the edge,
But that's where artists have to be tough
Right.
and just get over it.
Right.
It's gonna
I know.
It's going to happen, man.
It's gonna
Like,
happen.
I've been with acts that have gone out and sold recently 800 tickets in one market, and then they'll go, 2 states over, 50 tickets. Get over it, man. Get to the next one. It's like, because it's a matter of multiplication, right? Like if you go play for 50 people and you're playing for 500, good for you. Crush it. Those 50 people are going to tell 3 more people.
Right.
And you got 10 shows down the road, you're doing 5,000 tickets. Like, or you can bitch about it and you can complain and you can let it get you down. And then you don't crush for the next night where you've got 400 tickets sold.
Because you're so down on your luck.
Well, we saw that same artist, he was opening on this tour, but I went to the Cincinnati show and it was sold out like 1,000 people, and then 40 or an hour away in Lexington, a month later.
It was a complete dud of a show. Yeah. It was also spring break.
Yeah, the timing
in
was
a
right.
college town.
Yeah, there's a lot of variables.
I mean,
it's hard to get people to spend money, no matter what it is,
especially in the economy right now is just.
Yeah. You're never gonna get a sad sap out of me. Like, I came up in a time where you played. I was in the pop punk scene. I was in the rock scene. Like,
that's as
you were lucky
to
get a show. And if you got a show, you showed up, and you're lucky if the promoter knew you were on the show. Like, it was different, but you had the time of your life. It's like, just go play, man. And it's like the age of, but that was before TikTok and Instagram, and like the age of comparison where like, oh, I need to be playing stadiums in a month. It's like, you're not going to. All data shows you're not going to. So just go play the best show you can. And if there's 15 people there, crush it. I will mention my name, but like I will die on this mountain, and I love him to death. Russell Dickerson's one of my favorite artists on the planet, because we had an artist out with him for probably 2 months, and he had some shows where he killed crowd wise. This was early on, right when yours was coming out, and then he had a couple shows where the crowd just wasn't there. It just didn't show up. You would have never known. He put on the same show every night, and he brought the same energy every night. And he had the mentality that, like, this person paid the same as the guys last night. I'm going to go give them the show of their life. And now I go see him. I saw him in Chicago at Windy City, 10,000 people, same energy, same passion.
Wait, which weekend?
That was not this past summer.
Oh, you're talking about Smokeout?
Yeah.
You're talking about Smokeout?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's just, I will die on the mountain that, like, he's the best entertainer. He should be entertainer of the year every year. For the fact,
I just wish he'd lose I saw him in Milwaukee.
He wore a really tight tank top.
He wore a tank top. His nipples were coming out. He was not. He had the full dad bod going. He was not shredded. He was not shredded.
Stop it.
And then there was like hairs poking through, like the wife beater. He had like an orange hat. He did like an outfit switch, and then he had one of like the headset mics.
Oh, the Garth Brooks.
Oh.
Yeah. No, it's great. I love everything about.
I kind of like those.
I love everything about the guy, and I just.
Okay, but imagine the outfit. Yeah. Imagine the fit. I've got a video. I'm gonna have to definitely clip it into a social video because I was just not expecting that from him.
I just have so much respect.
But he had so much energy.
Yeah, he's so good, and he's so kind, and he always connects with fans, and he takes pictures of everyone that's there, and like I learned so much from him early on, as a manager watching an artist. Like, oh, that's how an artist should act. Yeah, and it pays dividends. Yeah, I'm a lifelong fan.
Yeah, my brother got a picture with him that weekend, and had nothing but good things to say.
He's the best. Yeah.
Were you there that whole weekend, or just the one straight?
Just that night.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know what year that was?
It was 20. I think it was 22, maybe.
Something like, I don't know.
I think it was 22.
Gotcha.
I worked for a porta potty company at the time. We brought all the porta potties there.
That's always good. And, wait, so you've worked for So TJ's resume, real quick.
Man, I was a porta potty guy, and I'm a songwriter.
So he's just trash and shit. TJ's trash and shit.
Hey, those are the people that make the world go around, dude. Yeah,
absolutely.
A lot of shitty situations.
Oh yeah, giggity.
They gave us 4 operations wristbands, so there was no way that was off limits for us.
Oh, cool.
So we were just like walked on the stage.
I love it.
Just like, oh yeah, look at this. We work here.
I could be anywhere I want. Yeah, it was a great year, but yeah, no, lifelong fan for that reason.
What would you say, like, the hardest lesson that
I've learned
from a management side of things? Like, you got to think back. I know. Yeah,
I mean, the hardest lesson I learned was you're not in control.
Yeah.
Much as you think you are, and that's why I have like the shortest college career maybe in history. for that exact reason. And I told the professor that I was in college for 1 day.
Are you serious?
I was. I enrolled and unenrolled with the same woman. Yeah, Florida State College of Jacksonville alum, baby. Yeah,
For 1 day?
1 day.
Alum,
baby. I still got the student email. But yeah, unenrolled with the same woman, because I ended up getting in an argument with her. And she, because I had the same thought that I had with management, where it's like, these people are going to school, whether it's for music business or for business in general. Not to say there's anything wrong with college, but like, they teach you how to work in an ideal environment.
not the real environment.
Not the real world. And it's like, when you're working with people, because I was already working, in music at this point, and I had a brief stint in politics, but doing the same thing where I was managing on the campaign side. And, I'm like, they don't teach you what to do when your artist gets a DUI or says something dumb or gets bad press or drinks too much and gets into a fight.
Blacklisted.
You have to learn how to operate in the gray, and it's like, in business, they teach you these like utopian ideas where it's like, oh, well, if you do this, this, and this, it's like, yeah, that's a cool blueprint. And I guess you can learn business ethics and things like that. But you can learn that on Google, just go out there and do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd say from the business end too. I mean, there is no cookie cutter answer to anything.
Yeah.
But there is more cookie cutters on the actual business to business type of consulting versus there is no cookie cutter in this industry. I feel like the only thing that's cookie cutter is how to upload.
How to upload,
a distributor.
Most of these deals are
release checklist.
Yeah.
Content.
Yeah, there is admin. Like, admin's real, But it's like, for the most part, like, these pub deals are getting done at Red Door, and they're getting done. It's like, it's not, the world is different in this space. And like, that's why you don't see a lot of people coming into the music industry from other industries at an executive level, because it's different.
Oh yeah, you couldn't. You got to work from the ground.
Yeah, it's different. You have to learn how the game works, and God knows, like, I'm still learning every single day. And
I think that's the beauty of it. That's why I love it. I mean, but I'm built different in terms of just. Why are you? What?
No, that was not.
Kane, you want to kill you? But I'm just built different from the perspective of like, I get knocked down. That gives me more motivation to get back up and keep going. My anxiety creates action. Where if I'm not anxious, if I'm calm, someone call the therapist, submit me to the psychiatrist because something's wrong if I'm calm. Or you're not hearing from me.
Yeah, I feel like there's so much trial and error in this business. Like, there's obviously no formula.
No. Well, and every artist is different. Every situation is different. Every fan is different. And I feel like it's the slowest, fast-moving industry I've ever been a part of.
And country is notoriously behind.
Country is extremely behind.
Yeah.
The industry as a whole is pretty damn behind in a lot of different scenarios. But country is very behind.
That's why a lot of these artists who are breaking out and I wouldn't say moving into the pop space, but collaborating with are doing so well because they're working outside the confines of Nashville. Nashville's a great city, but again, notoriously slow, notoriously late to the party. And that's why you have these amazing, you've got Morgans, you got artists like Kane Brown, these awesome artists who are going out and collabing with Marshmello, collabing with Post Malone. It's like, that's why these guys are doing record-breaking numbers, because they're breaking records in country, which
are confined to country radio.
You're not confined to country radio. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with those things. But when you put yourself in this box of like, well, you need to do this, and then you go to radio, and it's like, or you go cut a song with Post Malone and it goes number one. Like, just jump the ship, and
just do what you want to do.
Do what you want to do. Be creative, and there's why more people aren't doing it. I really don't know.
Well, I think sometimes artists get in their own heads a lot and thinking either. I mean, I've seen it the scenario with some artists where they're more so like, no, what value is that going to bring me? And then I've seen more so on the opposite end where artists are kind of like, they feel like they're not ready to do that reach out to someone that maybe has a bigger fan base on TikTok or something like that. Or maybe they're in the pop genre and they're like, I don't want the rejection, or how would I even go about it? And it's just you both love music. Just
do it.
You connect on something already. whoever that artist is.
and it's like
You're here for the same thing.
There's certainly moments where it could be too early.
Yeah.
And it's like I've had experience with I've managed an artist where there was a situation where something happened too early that came back to bite him, but it's never too early to build a relationship.
Mm-mm.
You know, like all these artists are going out like on Twitter. Lil Aaron, I don't know if you guys know Lil Aaron.
Who?
No.
Lil Aaron, yeah, he's a great songwriter in LA, and he's constantly hitting underground, new, underdeveloped artists on Twitter or X, whatever. I mean, like, dude, let's connect.
Yeah.
Let's work. And it's like, Lil Aaron's got hits, you know, and he's going out find it because he understands. Like,
Who the hell is Lil Aaron?
look at what he's great. He's got green hair. He's an amazing songwriter.
Fact checker. Can you play some Lil Aaron?
Yeah, he's got like a bunch of like Blackberry hits and he's a pop guy.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Blackberry hits writes with like the.
I feel like Marshmallow and Black Bear. Like I feel like I see them on so many collabs.
They're crushing, yeah. He's writing with a lot of like the Andrew like Goldsteins and stuff like that. Just like that circle.
Play this, please. This is like country.
Is this his original?
Yeah. Huh?
It's
Your
recorded like
speaker
that,
is
I'm sure.
shit.
No, I don't think it's a speaker.
It's just how it works. But he's like
Okay.
he's an amazing songwriter. Amazing, like he's got a bunch of hits. But he's like he's just constantly looking for like the next kid
Yeah.
because he recognizes that, like, this is a young man's game, and like, let me get in with the next kid, the next guy.
Well, that's what I noticed. Like with country, the ones at the top, they are willing to collaborate with the next kid. No, but we got way off topic. What was?
It's all right.
I said, what was the hardest lesson? Then we went down.
I
The
said
rabbit
that
hole.
you're not in control.
Oh, not in
Yeah.
control.
And it's like you're gonna get humbled fast in this game because you're gonna work so hard. And like I'll tell a story without names, but we were working with which again someone I still do often, and we had a opportunity to bring everyone in at once. He was super hot at the time and just crushed a new release. We got everybody in to one building to hear him one night. Labels, pubs, agents fighting over him. Worst show of his life. He psyched himself out. You know, he went and worked out before the show, and he threw up right before he went on stage and crushed his vocals. Like, just absolutely butchered it. And I just had to sit there, and like that was such a moment where I was like, oh, I can do everything right, or everything I think is right. And that artist can go up there and their nerves matter just as much, you know? And it's one moment, and it's like, it was not, that's not a reflection of his talent or his character, but he psyched himself out, you know? Cause like, it was his first time too. And for the most part, it's a lot of these artists' first time living just like it is yours, you know? So it's like, they're trying to figure it out like you are. So that was one like really, really humbling moment that I had to take a step back and be like, oh, I can do this and this and this and check every single box. They've got to go out there and kill. You know,
Yeah.
So all I can do is do the best that I can. And I still have a really great relationship with a lot of those people that came out to the show, as do, they're very aware that like, he doesn't really sound like that, you know?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of forgiveness and grace in this industry, as much as it doesn't maybe seem like it sometimes. But that was a tough moment, tough lesson.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to ask you the name after this.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you.
It's Morgan Wallen.
Morgan Mullen.
Morgan Wallen.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I don't know why I think that's so funny. Oh man. So what was like your first like big W? Your first big W?
My first big W was Blair's first record we did together. It was the first one that just like unprecedented debuted at number 4 on Billboard Country out of nowhere. You know, because again, the social hype was just so high. That was amazing.
What year was that?
Oh my God, please don't make me say this. Probably 2015, 16.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm old. That
was a peak moment though of socials and things of that nature though.
it was new. And
People were still excited about getting on social media every 5 seconds.
Well, we had
and
a song come
consuming
out.
new
we had a song
music.
come out on the record, and it did 1 million streams. And at the time, it was like unbelievable.
Yeah, that's like right at the start of Spotify.
It's crazy. You know, it was like, whoa, you know, it was 1 million streams. Now it's like, if it doesn't hit 1 million, like it's a failure, and that's no hate on anybody, but like it's a metric failure if you don't get into the 7 figures. Financially, right? Like you're not getting an ROI on a song for the most part without 1 million. And so we did it at the time, picked up some relatively big tours, but it was all in this really concentrated amount of time. And then as it expanded and Spotify started getting tens of thousands of subscribers a day, 1 million wasn't worth as much anymore. Mm-mm. So then when the next song, that the tough part about peaking early is the expectation, right?
Yeah.
And so I had a really, really early, as much as for him as for me, I had a really big win early at the time. It was a relative win.
You're like, oh wait, is this normal?
Is this normal, right? So
I'm just really that good.
So then
I'm just really this good.
I'm just so good at this. Yeah. But so when the next one does 200,000 streams, you're like, oh, it cuts you too. You're like, man, I did everything the same, and then, obviously a year or two later, we had a big win with an artist that we both have worked with. And that was another situation where, granted, like I had more experience to know how to deliver the project and how to work the project, but it was so much luck of when it came out, the algorithms that it landed on. And then same thing. It's like that next song, when it doesn't do as well, it does cut, but I'd say 7-8 years later, I don't care. Let's go. It's like, if that one flops, let's go. And it's like, that's what I love about the process of like releasing now over a long period of time in very short increments, is like the next one will hit. Yeah. It's just a numbers game. Like, cool, we missed 3, we'll get the 4th one, and if we miss the 4th one, we'll get the 5th one. Like, it's really just I consider Spotify just a really cool roll of the dice, and you can roll it as many times as you want, and you keep everything you win.
Yeah.
And a lot of these guys are recording on relatively low budgets now.
So we're going to do a fun little segment.
Okay.
We decided to ask an artist if they had any manager in front of them, what questions would they have?
Okay.
So one of those was, okay, you're an artist in the space right now. How would you go about pursuing your career? Because there's 8 million different ways that you can go about it. Is it staying on TikTok, building a social following first? Is it getting on the road? Is it release? Is it go get a label deal? Like there's 8 million ways to skin a cat in terms of the industry right now and the opportunities that present itself. What would you advise doing?
Yes.
That would be my answer too.
Yeah, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you isolate yourself if you just go the TikTok route.
Yep.
Because it's like, and it feels so cheap, right? Because like it's a lot of work being successful on TikTok for the most, if you're really, really doing it.
And you're gambling too.
You're gambling, but it's a free gamble.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't cost you anything.
There's no cost.
In terms of touring, I think people kind of spin their wheels a little too early, and they just murder themselves financially for what gain,
And physically and mentally.
Yeah, you have an unlimited audience online. So yeah, first things first, it's just like anything, right? Like music's no different than any other startup. Like you have to create a brand, and you have to create a platform, and
right.
You have to create a base. So it's like, as an artist, it's like what separates you? And because you can't tell that story on stage if no one's coming. So it's like, use the internet to like tell your story and like see if you can connect with people. And it's like, if you're doing 3 videos a day for 6 months and it's not working, your story sucks. And that should be a pretty clear cut shot. Like, you're not doing it right.
Right.
It's like, but for the most part, like I am definitely a subscriber of the school of thought that like, if you are good and worth listening to, people will listen.
Right.
If you put out several videos a day for months, it will work. Most people just can't survive it. Which is crazy to me. It's for anyone that's just like, dude, I just can't keep doing it. It's like, you can't keep making free videos to post on your free TikTok.
40 minutes a day.
Well, right when you said that, when you were like free, I was like, you should talk to some of the artists I talk to. They act like it's cost them $1 million to make that one fucking video and post it.
That's the biggest fight we have.
Yeah, a really good friend of mine who manages a super successful, what I would consider a TikTok artist. He told me earlier on when the platform came out, he said, man, like he blocks out 2 hours a day in his schedule to make TikToks. And at the time, this was probably 2020, 2021 ballpark, early. He said he spends 2 hours a day, 7 days a week making TikToks. And I was like, that seems crazy. And then 3 months later, I was like, oh, that's okay. I get it.
So really, he's spending 2 hours towards marketing. Really,
yeah, he spent 2 hours towards his craft. He's like, but I mean, he would be, and I got to witness it. Like, we'd be at an event or a party or a gathering, whatever, and he'd be like, hey, I got to roll. I got to go film. And he really like valued it, and he built a like really, really solid base around this community. And like, people are so psychologically, parasocially just locked in to social media now that like you can have like I worked in the YouTube space with artists for years, and like you can build a fan base just online, never play a show. And then if you want to go, like Dude Perfect is doing a live tour right now.
Oh yeah.
Well, a lot of pop artists, they wait till they're in like the 2 million monthly listeners like span and thing. Like they are.
There's a lot of artists with 5 million
The labels
monthly.
are making really good money over there.
Yeah, there's a lot of artists with 5 million monthly listeners,
and they haven't been on the
taking
road.
support slots for $500. Like, it's not the same for everyone. And then you've got artists that have 750,000 monthly listeners that are selling out 700 cap rooms. Like, the story is different. But to like go back to the question, I would be doing everything, but specifically like leaning towards like, if you had to say like, how am I going to divide up my time equity? Spend 99% of your time building a base, because every percent of time you spend on the road playing, there's nothing wrong with playing Broadway, but like go out and do that in your spare time. But like doing that, touring, creating fake opportunities to make yourself seem cooler than you are. People, number one, can see through that. And two, you're speaking to no one. So build your community, build your audience, go get a text number, use community texting, use TikTok, use Instagram, use Facebook Reels, use Snapchat Spotlight, great platform, and build a community, and then find a way to turn all those communities into a fan club, and you'll sell tickets for the rest of your life.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, me and you bond over Muscadine Bloodline, but they've done it well.
It's awesome.
As far as building a business goes.
Awesome.
And I think it's the community piece that they have done so extremely well. They could absolutely flop on a full album, and still that community would show up.
Totally agree.
But the Lax is the same way. And until I went on the road with them, I mean, their fan base is like no other. I've not seen anything like it. They've got like 3 or 4 big, huge fans that follow the actual bus and go to every single show. Like they take off work for the tours.
Yeah.
The first show I went to of theirs, the guy came up to me, he was probably 60, 70 years old. He's like, man, I seen these guys on YouTube, and I brought my whole family. I was like,
The whole family
look what's
shows up.
happening to Jelly.
yeah.
Jelly Roll's great, but he's also like, he stands out because people know him, and if they don't, they sure think they do, because he's so good at telling the story. Like he stands for something. And TikTok is
I think that's it. He stands for something.
Yeah.
He stands for
TikTok's
something.
a free platform to tell your story, and like, so I forget who Spotify put on this event, and they had some speakers come out, and this one manager, this woman that works with a great artist, was saying, she's like, imagine you had an opportunity to create your own television program that was going to be in every home in America. What type of content would you create? Because that's literally what you have. You have everyone in America has one of these pretty much. And you basically are creating your own channel that you could create your own content to show anybody that's willing to watch. And TikTok will reward you for being good. Like, are there viral buttons? Are there hot buttons? Probably. But like at the end of the day, I watch my favorite content. It will work. Just be good. And if you're not good, get better.
Have something compelling.
Have something that's different.
Yeah. Or, I mean, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people overthink a lot of parts of this industry.
Sure.
But when it comes to marketing, I mean, at the end of the day, marketing is very simple.
Sure.
People relate to people. How does your story really resonate with people, right? And have an impact on people? How does your music have an impact on people?
Totally agree.
And if you think through that lens, a lot of stuff starts to really come together from there.
Yeah, the dominoes will fall.
Yeah. Let's see. What was that second question, Joe? I forgot it. Here, put them on the. Just go ahead and put
How
them
have
on the.
things changed in the management scope?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, how have things changed since 2015 in the management side of things?
Hold it like
How have things changed in the management side? No, I'm joking.
So fucking loud.
That was loud.
Hold it like this.
That mic is really hot for some reason.
How?
We should be
So-
videoing
Close
this.
it out.
So you've been in the management space since 2015.
2015.
Outside of TikTok and social media, and that, you know, like from almost solely like a business perspective, how have things really changed? Because it seems back then like the traditional way of doing, I mean, especially in the country music space, being an artist, you sign the pub deal. I mean, at least for Nashville, you sign the pub deal and you work your way up, right? Or you go to Texas and play like the live music circuit out of Texas, that sort of thing. From what you've seen, what you can gather, how has that really, really changed? And how have you seen people adapt for the good or the bad? Like, what would you do and what wouldn't you do?
What wouldn't I do? I think people have adapted for the lazy. For
Yeah.
the most part. I think there's a lot of lazy people, and it's like I think the number one thing that's changed is like, you know, the term like everyone's an artist now, everyone's an influencer now, everyone's also a manager now, right? Because like you have these like kids managing kids, and they're like, well, that worked, and they just get into the game and they're kind of cast into it. But on the other side of the thing, I think it brings some cool new light, right? Because like
Different perspective.
it's different, you know, and like these. One thing that I think is beneficial about these like lazy young guys in the game is they'll find a lazier way to get something done. So it's a really unique way, right? Like it's but I think what's changed the most is just access. You know, because like I couldn't have imagined in 2009 Maker Studio coming out and being able to make full scale films on YouTube, something that was like only accessible to Warner Brothers for 50 years, and now you have like local filmmakers making like film projects that they go sell to Disney for like $1 billion, right? So it's like now we've even gone that far, like anybody can be an artist. You can be in the backwoods of freaking Kentucky and make a record in your, you know, or West Virginia and go play outside back of your house and have like the biggest song on the planet, right? Like it's just access. That's what's changed. So it's like learning how to navigate it. And I think like obviously we all know who I'm talking about. Like I think the guy's manager is like a plumber, and he's like, I'm gonna stick with my guy. You know, so like the industry has expanded exponentially, right? Because it's like you just have all these new people coming into the industry that are learning and bringing new ideas. But the access to be able to like think of an idea, record it, and have it in front of 1 million people in 45 minutes is crazy. It's insane. And it's like, and I don't even know what's next, but I didn't think anything could have ever topped iTunes. I didn't think anything could ever top Spotify. I didn't think anything could ever top. So like, something's coming. Like, you know, it's like TikTok is not the end.
Well, I feel like we've been in an idle spot for a second. Like something new is about to burst.
Longer than I thought you would be. Like,
Yeah, I feel like we've been sitting in the news since, I don't know. I feel like it hit its peak 2015, 2016.
Well, someone just recently said, I heard like technology in a way, in terms of consumer technology, is almost maxed out.
Yeah.
There's really nowhere else to go. Now it's about redesigning the interface of like,
Right.
how do we, because like things are legitimately instant. So there's no way that things could be more immersive or more accessible. So now it's like, okay, how do we make them more accessible easily? Like,
Right. Well, the basics are still going to be the same.
Yeah.
If you're an artist, the basics are the same. What is your story? Is it compelling?
sure,
Figure out a way to tell it in a compelling way that resonates with others.
totally.
That period. No matter what platform you're going to be on, it's going to require, whether that's a stage platform or it's your phone.
On the topic of Spotify, what was it that you posted about this morning?
Oh, and that's
What's going on with that?
That's a heated. Let's not jump into that.
We
Okay.
can jump into it.
The NSAI.
Yeah, I'll jump into it. Okay.
Didn't mean
Did
to
you
open
read
up
it?
a can of worms.
Yeah. No, you're good.
Cancel my Spotify. I probably should.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure. I mean, I feel like NSAI is always making us think about something, but they're probably also covering up the fact that they just, I don't know, the universal music thing,
Yeah.
where they with the Tin Pan. We were at that interview,
Yeah,
and they
I
were
don't-
like, "We have this firm ground. We are not going across. We're going to boycott, blah, 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 making our statement known." And then Universal bent over, took it.
Yeah, but I'd like to see that contract because I think Universal got paid and that's why they're back on TikTok.
Well, yeah, well, that's, of course, they
So I
were
don't
they were
understand.
negotiating on behalf of, but say what you're actually doing. They were negotiating on behalf of their artists, which all of the labels do.
Oh yeah, that's.
But how they were
what I thought
messaging it
from
was,
the start.
we're making a stance for all artists. What's your take on the NSA, the thing that they posted today?
I think that I will say that I think that the whole conversation around royalty rights, payments, structures on that, I think that it's a very necessary evil
Yeah,
because I think that people, it's at scale, right? 150 million is a big number. But at scale, what percentage is it in the deduction? And how many more people are making money now because of Spotify that they
right.
wouldn't have? It's a really double-edged sword. Is Marxist capitalism ever going to be fair? No. And it's like, it's not, but it's like at some point, I think that the irons will eventually cool down and they'll find a way. But, Spotify still posts losses every quarter, so it's like,
Yeah,
because they're spending money on
they just hit a profit.
Yeah, so they're spending money like crazy. But it's like you have a lot of artists making a living making music now. But it's like, how do you get the artists paid? And like the answer to me is you have to rethink songwriting splits. And like songwriters are going to have to start becoming master owners.
Well,
it's the only way.
We're getting into a
Yeah.
pretty expansive topic, but I mean, I feel like artists should be giving master splits. I mean, that's
Totally
my
agree.
stance on it.
Yeah.
But there's many artists in town that refuse.
Well, a lot of artists don't own their masters. They don't have a choice.
Well, but on the
Yeah.
other side of things,
Yeah.
on the independent side,
Sure.
there's a lot of artists that,
Yeah. I think there's a lot of unique things to come in that space, whether it's like it's a big conversation, but like in terms of even replacing the necessity for producers and for songwriters, like as AI is continuing to grow in that space, they're going to find a way
yeah,
to stop spending money. And then like that to me really is the next,
that's scary.
it's the next step in music, right? Like when you demand companies spend X amount more on employees, they automate that amount of money to maintain profit margins. So as like AI can legitimately make music now, and it can make songs now,
insane.
you're gonna get to a point where like you can cut out producers and you can cut out art musicians and you can
Or
like
mastering or
in terms of just overall points, that's how they're gonna start saving the money. And like I said, I think that I look at it how I look at a lot of things because it is politics at the end of the day, and I spend a lot of time in politics. It's no different than anything else where like you can either complain about it or you can learn how it's going to be and learn how to make money in it and learn how to work in it because you're certainly not going to change it because the people who run the game they're 20 years ahead. They've already known where this is going. You're not going to stop it. And by the time that even we've heard about it, it's already done. So just learn how to play the game.
right,
Mhm.
right. Yeah, I think there are some protections that are needed when it comes to AI
Mhm.
from the creative element.
That's
Sure.
Suno AI last pod, and that's
Yeah.
crazy what it can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's still, no matter the case, you can't replace an artist, right? You can't
Right.
replace that human connection. But at the same time, I think what's scary is currently there is no legal protections from the perspective of the inputs into AI. So artists and songwriters aren't giving permission for AI to utilize their content, their music, but yet AI is taking all of that in as an input and using it to create. So from that perspective, scary, right? That's why a lot of the Sonos and whatever it sounds like, Garth Brooks or whoever, you can like pick up on different vocal patterns. But no matter the case, but to play devil's advocate, if I was the owner of Sonos or whatever the hell, Suno, whatever it's called, if I was the owner of that, or if I was leading like the political war from protecting or defending AI, well, that's like saying, you know, well, you're influenced by Eric Church. So
Yeah.
that's your input. So any influence by Eric Church in your music, that breaks legal law. I mean, it's a huge debate.
Yeah, the Elvis Act's going to be tough. It's gonna.
That's where that human emphasis is what they're really.
Yeah, it's going to create a lot.
Well, and it's looped in with some
litigation.
India something or another bill at the federal level now. But
Okay. Yeah, it's going to create a lot of problems, you know, because like you can't trademark the sound of someone's voice to some degree. Because if that was the case, there's a few artists right now that would be in trouble.
you can protect,
Yeah,
but you can protect against like image, right?
you totally, and you can't.
That's like where the verification, all that's kind of started and gone, right?
I think you can protect from saying this is a Morgan Mullen song. You know, it's just like you can do things like that and say like you can't market it as those things. But it's like there's a lot of everyone's trying to sound like Morgan now. So it's like at what point is it just the same song? And what point is the same record? Like there is only one, you know? So it's like if people are utilizing AI to try to create a sound that people are going to hear and be like, oh, I want to stop and listen to that. It sounds like my favorite artist. You can't make that illegal, right? You can but if they say this is this guy's song, that's where you start kind of creeping into that name and likeness legalities. So it's going to be a lot of kinks, but it's also it's the first time we're ever having to deal with it. So let's see what it looks like in 10,
Hey,
20
but
years.
at the same time, I'm kind of proud of the industry and Nashville for kind of being first to the game
ahead of it,
when usually we're so freaking behind.
Yeah.
I mean, we let the entire world steal music before we actually took a stance when it came to the streaming game. So
True.
at least we're on it.
True. No, it's a great act, and I think when the kinks are ironed out, it'll make more sense. But I think all it's going to do for now is be a breeding ground for lawsuits against people like Ed Sheeran, like this last one, or Marvin Gaye's family suing everyone for everything.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
It's kind of funny because, I mean, both of those names have been in the copyright.
Yeah, it's always the same families, but
It's a chord progression at the end of the day.
Yeah.
100%.
Copyright that.
Yeah.
No, it has to check a lot of boxes. But no matter the case, that's definitely for a real. No, I do think though, from the input side of things, if you're going to utilize my songwriter or my artist music, right, in order to create, it's not just an influence. You're using that to build what you are creating. I think there should be permission and there should be payment.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I just don't know what that looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anybody does.
No.
And it's probably not for us to decide.
It's not.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's not. It's for us to
who-
adapt to, but I'm just.
Yeah, I don't know who will make the decision, but
Probably Biden.
it'll be Biden.
He'll know what to do.
Hey, was that the one that you wanted to kill? No.
I didn't say I wanted to kill
Oh.
anyone. Don't bring me into that. I'm not going
Anyways,
to jail.
I think one of my last questions, and then TJ, if you have any, you can throw them out. But I think if I was an artist, my big question when it comes to management is when am I ready to have a manager, right? What needs to be in place? And that's a really hard question, right? Because it depends. Right? Is there milestones? Do I need to have my shit together? What shit do I need to have together?
I don't think you need a manager until you have something to manage.
Right.
You know? And I always tell everyone, the first thing you should get is a lawyer and do that as long as possible. Because they're the only person in your corner that's ethically bound to work in your best interest. Legally bound to work in your best interest. A manager can screw you. Publisher can screw you. Your best friend can screw you. A lawyer legitimately will lose their license if they work against your best interest. Get a lawyer. Find someone that's going to work pro bono for 10 years. And if there's nothing to manage, why have one?
Right.
You know, because you're giving away 10% of nothing, 15% of nothing. And you're relinquishing creative control over something that you don't even know you're passionate about yet.
Yeah.
When you're kind of in that point where it's like you're still developing. Like you don't need someone to come in and mold something that's not there.
Yeah, you don't know your identity or
you don't even know what you want to do yet. Yeah.
So let's say you were sitting down with an artist. What are, like, first time meeting them, just assessing them. They're looking for management. You're at least listening, trying to hear their story. What are the keywords that you're looking for?
Keywords I'm looking for are I want to work.
I am not lazy.
I am not lazy. Yeah, no, the more that they refer to themselves, they're either a psychopath or they're a hard worker. And you got to kind of differentiate between the two. But I did have I had an artist consultation one time with a guy who I won't name, but he might hear this, and he was a douchebag. And the first thing he asked me was, what can you do for me? And I was like, oh, I'm out. Because, like, you don't want to do it, And I think, I listen for people to be like, hey, man, I don't know where I need to go, but I'm so passionate about music. Here's what I want to do. Have a vision board, have an image board, have a couple records, have a couple demos, and then meeting someone that's like, I think I'm onto something. Like, I just need a little push. I need, because like managers for whatever reason, have this like stigma where like, oh, if I get a manager, I'm going to do it. It's like, are there people, of course, like there are managers that have more leverage than others and can use opportunities to leverage you into a better situation, whether it's a festival or a pub deal. But for the most part, you just need someone that's going to trailblaze for you, And if that's your homie from back in West Virginia, that's a plumber, that just like loves you and cares about you and will look out for your best interests, I would take that guy any day over the guy that can leverage artist X, Y against you.
What were we talking about? We were on a good topic, damn it.
I don't know.
Talking about Epstein's Island.
No, we were not. I
heard there's a water park.
Taking the guy that's going to look out for you over.
Yeah, no, the guy that will trailblaze for you.
Yeah, the guy that will trailblaze for you. It's like,
yeah.
The first thing I listen for is someone that wants to work.
Yeah.
And someone that's really, really passionate. Because you can't buy passion.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, you can't buy passion.
Contrary to popular belief, we don't have a magic wand that millions of streams.
Totally. Yeah.
Well, it's the passion that's going to ride. You riding that passion is what's going to help you to actually be driven and wake up and want to do it the next day and the next day after all of the losses, because you're going to have more bad days than good days in this industry.
Yeah, the passion will fill the gaps between the losses.
Yes.
Yeah. And the wins.
And yeah. To keep going. I don't know. I guess what are the like, nope, yep, I'm done. You said, what are you going to do for me?
Yeah.
Selfishness?
Yeah. Like if you think that you're more than you are, you're lost, dude. Yeah. Like, cause I just, I don't need it.
Right.
And it's like, I have enough people in my life that want to be successful and want to work. It just takes that one weak link that thinks their entitlement is the absolute curse of success. Because the moment you think you deserve it, you're out. Yeah. Because you just don't, And granted, a lot of these guys become successful when they become egotistical. Do it then. If you're going to do it then. But, like, earn it first. If you feel like you're entitled to something because your mom told you were, that's great. But I'm not your guy. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say I agree with all the above in terms of criteria. I don't know. I feel like, I've gotten myself in situations where I've worked with people before because they had the same amount of drive as what I have, right?
Totally.
But Dixie just pooped. Oh my God.
Oh no.
He's stinky. Sorry. But you can have all the drive in the world, but if I'm not as passionate about what you got going on, it's just not.
That's a big portion of it too. You have to be.
I have, yeah.
And almost more than passion is like having the discipline to do it.
Yes.
Because those 50-person shows will kill your passion.
Yeah.
But if you can get up the next day and say, I got to do it because the next show is going to be better and the next week's going to be better. It's like when you find those people that want it, and you pretty much know when you meet those people,
Oh, yeah.
There's
100%.
just something about them, it's like the through line between every successful person that I've either worked with or know is just that line, that cross pattern of confidence and discipline, where it's like, dude, there was no backup option, and it's like, I have an artist that I work with on the touring front that just blows me away every time I see him. He's making just untold amounts of money and still every day wakes up with the same drive, creating ideas, going out and filming with his creative director. There's been no drop off in effort versus success. And you see that so much with this. It's the same thing with all the successful people, other than the occasional one that gets a little bit lucky. They usually don't last.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know who you're alluding to there, and I think it's a good kind of closeout. So I know you've worked with 2 different kind of pop vertical acts, and you've seen a lot. You've seen a couple artists that you've worked with go have those viral moments, right?
Yeah.
Some that have really taken those moments to engage and to be hands-on and to continue to cultivate that and to grow it, right? And then others where they've taken a step back, didn't know what to do, kind of paused for too long, right? I guess obviously consistency is the answer, right? And engaging and cultivating that at that moment. But I guess what are your difference in approach when it comes to the management side of things when you're talking to one versus the other? And the challenges with that.
I mean, the challenge is, again, some people are definitely more naturally sensitive to the drop off of the bell curve. Right. And they get to the bottom and like, I don't know what to do. The other people look back and they're like, oh, that's, I remember that, and it's like, it's the only valuable time that you look back is to like see where you've been. Like, I want to beat that. I want to get back to that point. Some people just don't have it in them. And I think, you have to remember you're dealing with people. And when you've had people who have had success and get to the back end of that bell curve, you have to approach those situations carefully. Because, some people just don't receive criticism particularly well. And they're very close to breaking at their lowest versus when you have the ultra driven guy. They just don't look at it the same, and it's like
different mindsets.
Yeah. And some people you work with, they're the ones holding you up when you're like, God, I'm trying everything. And you have these people that just have this natural passion and drive to be like, we'll get it, man. And it's like the most important thing I always have to remember and deal with is like, I am just as vulnerable to the discouragement. Obviously over a period of time, you become callous to it, you become hardened to it. And you realize that like you'll get the next one. But in regard to, like I said, those 2 particular artists, with one of them, it had to be a more sensitive approach to be like, hey, reverse engineer what you did the first time. It will happen again. This next time we just have to be ready. Versus with the other artist, after a certain amount of time, I'm kicking myself like, man, what am I not doing right? And then that artist, being the CEO of their own brand, comes back and you watch the effort that they're putting in and the drive that they're putting in, and it reinvigorates you to come up with new ideas and be creative. And it's a very rare occasion when an artist does have that. But when you have both working together, it creates something just magical, just insane. Because you have 2 people that just refuse to let the other one fail. Right.
Well, that's a good approach. Just thinking about management too.
Totally.
If it's a good situation, a good partnership. I mean,
it has to
let them fail.
Because it's like you've got to, other than if you're married, your spouse, like you've got to be able to trust your manager with everything, your finances, your scandals, your deepest, darkest thoughts, and it's like because that's the person that you need to not only guide your career, but also like it's 2 a.m. I'm down. I got to talk to somebody. Like you're the therapist, your mom, your dad, you're the daycare. You got to get out there and do it, And if you don't want to do it, then go, be an agent.
Yeah, I heard the Red Clay Strays on a podcast this morning, and they said their biggest realization was that they just had to do it. And if they keep doing it long enough, keep that work ethic up, then it's going to happen.
Well, back to earlier with that question, yes, all the above. You just need to do it. Yes. You need to do it and figure out what sticks, what works, and then continue to do that and rinse and repeat.
Totally.
And then that's going to stop working, and you're going to have to
try it again.
Do something else.
I like think of it as gambling odds. Like starting out, you're 1,000,000 to 1, but then every little thing you do, from
Totally.
there
It's
brings
just
you
a
up
margin.
there.
Yeah, it's just like a marginal improvement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, TJ,
I think that's it.
think that's it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is the end of episode 3.
Sweet. Thank you guys.
Where can the people find you?
Don't.
Don't.
Yeah.
That's exactly how I would answer. Just don't.
Yeah. Don't
Just
find
don't.
me. Yeah. Don't call me.
We'll put them in the show notes.
Just put my phone number across the screen.
No, I'll put like your Instagram handle or something.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll do
cool.
that. Awesome.
Thank